watching Global Talk. The most important partners of Kazakhstan today are the European Union countries. From year to year, our cooperation in economic, political, scientific and educational spheres become stronger. Building partnerships has always been a priority for Kazakhstan. A variety of events brings together nature, which one of it has the celebration of the European Days in Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan celebrates Europe Day for more than 15 years and has become one of the most unique festivals that unite the participants in a series of colorful activities in the field of culture, cinema and education. As part of Europe Day, it has become a tradition to organize for active youth so-called ambassadorial meetings, at which the diplomats of different countries, members of the European Union, are introduced to the Kazakh school children and students with EU activities, as well as talk about the cooperation between Kazakhstan and the European Union. This year, such interactive discussions were held in 28 secondary schools in the city of Astana.
It's a real privilege because, as I said, we have a pleasure to continue a tradition with the school number 66 to celebrate the Europe Days in Kazakhstan, because this is exactly what it is about, what we have achieved in our bilateral relations between the European Union and Kazakhstan. And this week, it's an opportunity to make it public and to announce to the people what we actually are doing in our bilateral relations. And kids are very much important, students are very much important. That's why we choose to start the events always with the lesson into the school.
I'm very happy that this year here in Astana, the Europe Day was celebrated in such an articulated and interesting manner, more than usual, I think. And the goal is essentially to present Europe as such, mainly to students, to the broad public. I think it's also useful for us as Europeans to stop a bit and to think the achievements we reached in all these years. This is particularly important in the moment when the European Union faces big challenges, also a crisis, I hope a growth crisis, but of course many problems from immigration and terrorism, and there are so many. And so, in a sense, to stop a moment and think about where we are coming from, what we achieved and where we are heading to, I think it's useful not only for our interlocutors but for ourselves as well.
With an event that I think it was very interesting, not only for us as representatives of the European Union, but actually for the kids that are in the common schools, in the general schools in the country. We had the European Union representative from 28 member states participating in 28 schools in Astana, presenting, of course, the history of the bilateral relations with Kazakhstan, and of course some specific issues of each and every country of the European Union. We also had a discussion with young people interested, students, bloggers, journalists, on concrete programs and issues related to the European Union. And it was a very, I would say, interesting discussion because it was focused on different topics. Topics that are very hot in the European Union debate and topics that are very much interesting for the Kazakh public, for the citizens of Kazakhstan that are doing business with, learning in or traveling to the European Union and its member states.
Youth of Astana took an active part in discussions about the culture and history of Europe. And as noted by many of them, such meetings are useful in educational terms and very productive for the Kazakh youth.
I really liked today this event, and today I talked with the ambassador from Hungary. We talked about the immigration policies in this country. Also, we had a huge discussion about the refugees from Syria. So it was interesting to know the Eastern European opinion and how they see this issue, just because, you know, there are so many different perspectives, especially like as a Central Asian citizen, I see it differently, and it was really interesting and like exploring for me to know especially the Eastern European opinion. I guess as every similar events like this, when the students can informally talk with the ambassadors, is always a good opportunity for future diplomas, future political scientists to personally have conversations, just because it's much different than just reading the news or, I don't know, studying from somewhere, just because you know that they are the same people as you are and you can talk to them, they have their personal opinion, and it's much different and I think it's a huge experience.
Our business as diplomats is to talk to people and understand each other and promote understanding. And for that reason, it's very important to have opportunities to get in touch with people, with young people that are promising and that will be the future, in this case of Kazakhstan. I would say that people in Kazakhstan have a good idea of the major European countries, of those that are more well-known abroad, France, Germany, UK, Italy.
I enjoyed very much the first half of this exercise because I was not only answering questions, but I was also asking questions and receiving answers from my partners. I was impressed very much how active they are. Frankly speaking, I was waiting with a cup of coffee and I was wondering whether they will be shy or they will be active or maybe even provocative. And I appreciate if someone is even provocative because it's much more interesting to have a debate on the tricky questions, because it's an intellectual and mental exercise to think what to answer by trying to keep your honest opinion. So that's why I was positively surprised, and I enjoyed it from the very first moment. Once they sat at the table, we started conversation and we couldn't finish it.
As a part of the celebration of Europe Day, the Festival of the European Cinema was held in different cities of the country. In theaters of Astana, Almaty, and Shymkent, viewers showed 14 films, winners of international film awards shot in the EU countries.
Also, documentary movie presented in Almaty. We wanted to present European Union from the cultural angle, through the movie lenses and through the specificity of the cultural life that is very brilliant and boiling within the European Union. We had also classical music concerts open to the public for the people that wanted to enjoy and to indulge themselves in the classical compositions and musics from the European Union member states, but also from Kazakhstan. And I think we had an excellent combination showing that the cultural heritage and diversity of the European Union and its member states is quite compatible and very much suitable for combination and interaction with the Kazakh culture. We will finish all these events by organizing a public discussion here for the so-called Pecha Kucha format, trying to present a small piece of history of the European Union to make sure that people understand better who we are, where we started from, and where we reached. And then a sectoral presentation that I think it would be very much interesting for the public, particularly for the young generation. How are the possibilities and what are the advantages of learning, educating themselves based on the European standards and in the countries of the European Union. So I hope it's a mix that will present us better and we show who we really are.
It's very nice because, I mean, also for us, we get a feedback how the European Union as such is perceived in good and bad terms, which are the main curiosities. And I'm happy to see that broadly the perception is very positive. So in a sense, it's also useful to us when we are so much in all these issues and problems I mentioned. It's useful to understand that from outside, still the European Union is considered a positive experiment.
The European Union and Kazakhstan cooperate since independence. Today, the EU is the largest trading and investment partner of Kazakhstan. The share of the European Union accounts for almost 50% of Kazakhstan's forward trade turnover. 60% of foreign direct investment of the Republic falls to the share of European countries.
Currently, Kazakhstan is the first partner in Central Asia, with which negotiations have been completed under the Agreement on Expanded Partnership and Cooperation with the EU. As representatives of the countries of the European Union noted, signed paper on enhanced cooperation on December of last year is an important milestone to further strengthen the partnership of states members of the EU and Kazakhstan.
The first document of its kind that the European Union signs with a country, third party, so to say, from Central Asia. It illustrates how deep and important these relations are for both partners, and also what mature state of the cooperation we have entered into. I'll give you very quickly an example. If at the initial stage, right after independence, the most important was to support Kazakhstan in its reform efforts, in its efforts to set up the modern state it is now. Today, the question is of different nature. Kazakhstan is a country that has medium income per head of population. It is quite well developed. So coming back to this important, in my view, document, the basis document on which this relationship is being built on, of course, one would think of the economic and investment related cooperation, whereas everybody in this country knows that investor number one and the state trading partner number one of Kazakhstan, that's Europe. But few people know that, for example, in Central Asia, 90% of European trade goes with Kazakhstan. So it makes a difference when we acknowledge the centrality of each other in terms of relationship.
Hungary is the only strategic partner of Kazakhstan in Central Eastern Europe, and Kazakhstan is the only strategic partner of Hungary in Central Asia. And that's why I think this is a special relationship. To mention you some specific decisions and some specific results. A few weeks ago, there was a first meeting of the joint Hungarian-Kazakh investment fund.
European Union is still the biggest investor in Kazakhstan, the biggest trading and the Netherlands. The Netherlands companies are anchor investor in the field of energy, in the field of harbor construction, in the field of logistics, and becoming more and more investor in the field of agriculture. And on the longer run, also medical care. Also a part of investments, and that's a fact, is foreign capital or Kazakh capital through holding companies in the Netherlands. Nothing wrong with that, because it also adds to our economy, because the Netherlands financial service is one of the best in the world.
Thus, the cooperation between Kazakhstan and the EU today went to a new level, given the huge potential and the unique experience of the European Union in various fields. Kazakhstan is counting on the EU support in the implementation of public tasks on Kazakhstan joining the top 30 most developed countries of the world.
Kazakhstan does so often. Particularly at this time, a point of time, Kazakhstan is a little bit more concentrated over the ocean to New York for a reason. They have to explain your achievements and what Kazakhstani foreign policy stands for to the audience worldwide, but also the present-day hopes, aspirations, and impressive achievements of the country that we know as Kazakhstan, the heart of Eurasia.
Kazakhstan is facing some challenges in the economic field, as Europe is facing, but Kazakhstan holds the future. You're part of mainland Asia. This is the century of Asia, and Holland is here to stay.
The world is getting small. Kazakhstan is a country of future, we believe so. Our country also is a country of future. The EU is a space that is going to go on being determining for the future for the global future. But the world is filled now with many new actors. It's a multipolar world. And that's a very good thing, and that means that there's a lot more of diplomatic activity going on because of that. And that's basically the reason why we are here, why we just opened an embassy in Kazakhstan.
As a part of the Europe Days, we were able to discuss a variety of issues related to the cooperation between Kazakhstan and the EU. As participants of the momentous event noted, the dialogue in this platform allows to learn more about the history and culture of the countries belonging to the European Union. And this, of course, is an important component of bilateral relations, which are focused on the development of relations in various fields. This was Global Talk. See you soon on Kazakh TV.